Hello, I am the Justin. This is part two of my wrestling game video. I wanted to talk about uh, wrestling gaming in the future. If I sound kind of weird, I'm sorry about that. Something wrong with my mic. I think I'm gonna have to get a new one. But yeah, I want to talk about the future of wrestling gaming. My first video, I talked about why wrestling games were seemingly better in the early days and how they are getting better. Um, Despite what a lot of people may think, wrestling games are not getting worse. It is, to my mind, I think that our view towards wrestling games as gamers and fans is 90% nostalgia and about 10% what we actually see as far as gameplay mechanics and visuals. Visually, wrestling games are getting better. They're getting much better. They're getting much more realistic. Um, Number one, because wrestling moves way faster now, and it's not wrestling. WWE moves way faster now, but since we're talking about wrestling video games, it's only fair to only talk about really WWE because they are the only ones currently putting out consistent titles every year. So if I talk about WWE a lot, I'm not ignorant to the other organizations. They just aren't prevalent in gaming today. So yeah, the SmackDown versus Raw series from 2004, I want to say, is when the first one uh came out. I want to say 2004 or 2003, around that time. Till now, it looks way better, obviously. But for us gamers, it's like, oh, that doesn't look good. Oh, that looks fake. Look at that, it's the same moves. Actually, anybody who's been playing the games throughout the years can see that a lot of changes have went into not only the visuals, but the hit detection has gotten a lot better. The grapples have gotten uh, more diverse. Uh, Reversals are better. Everything is just getting better. To me, what is hindering wrestling games is two things. Number one, um, no other organizations putting out any games. And number two, the SmackDown versus Raw series. Now, organizations, we got Ring of Honor, we got uh, TNA, we got some other ones, but those are the two that are really, really, popular. There's no reason why TNA should not put out another game. The first TNA Impact game was so bad. I didn't even play it. I could tell by the gameplay videos that it was not going to be able to match up against SVR 2009. You could just tell. Now, as far as visually, it looked really good. Like, the graphics looked amazing, but it just couldn't. It couldn't deliver. And for what I heard, I was right about it. Um, but now they have Hogan, they have Hardy, they have Flair, um, they have Angle, RVD's back on there, and the list keeps going. And plus, not to mention everybody else who was there before: Jeff Jarrett, Samoa Joe, um, AJ Styles, and there's so many. There's no reason TNA should not be working on a game right now. Now, I don't know at this point. Maybe they are. I haven't really done research on it, but the last time I checked, they aren't doing crap. Now, TNA needs to get their act together because TNA right now, as far as a show, is quality-wise way, way better than WWE. Their stories are more realistic. They don't BS. It doesn't feel rehearsed. It just feels more like that old school brash, honestly WCW type feeling. That's what it really has, and that comes with both good and bad things. Um, I don't know why everybody's doing the whole NWO gimmick with WWE and NXT and with TNA, and and they've have so many factions. So on TNA, pick one. But they need to do a game, and I think the TNA game would be the only game that would be able to get WWE off this high horse, because TNA has a roster like I just explained, but it also has a hardcore edge to it that it feels sincere. It feels like that's what it is, not what it's trying to be. And I think that if they got a good developer behind them, like 2K Games, or if they got anybody behind them, Activision behind them, anybody, they will put out some quality gaming. Um, and also it's a mix up because they have different match types in the WWE. Um, and even if it's the same match type, it's a different take on it. So that'll be fresh and that'll be something new. Ring of Honor should do. They should probably do a game too, but that would be hard to swallow because nobody knows who they are. It's kind of like that Lucha Libre championship wrestling game that just came out not too long ago. The sales on that aren't really doing too good. I mean, but the game looks like it's probably a good game, but nobody wants to wrestle with people who they don't know or don't care about. Lucha Libre really isn't big over here in the States if it isn't like Rey Mysterio or something like that. So it's hard to sell that to an American um, audience. But Ring of Honor could probably test the waters in like a handheld. Nobody be crying if it comes out on PSP or something like that. But we just need other companies to really give THQ a kick in the pants, because the reason why they haven't really been putting out, to me, the best games that they could put out is because they don't really have competition anymore. My second point, which I'm going to get to really quickly, is that the SVR series needs to die. Now, I don't mean that THQ needs to just quit. I don't mean that they just need to, WWE needs to stop making games, but they need to focus on a different gimmick for their video games. Because to me, the SVR series, if not checked, is going to slowly become the WCW versus NWO series, where there's going to be a lot that decline in quality. Now, I feel that SVR is still worth saving because it's getting better, but I think that now it needs to break away from the whole SVR thing, because it isn't a separate show versus separate show anymore, not even in the broadcast. It very much feels like one big universe. It feels like one big pot. Back in the early 2000s, it was really like Raw and SmackDown, and trades were, more was on the line. We wanted to see Eddie Guerrero versus Edge because they rarely ever met. Because the one was on SmackDown, one was on Raw. Now it's one big melting pot, so they need to focus on a game that is outside of that, versus thing. I really think that would be the best thing they could do, and not like a Legends game like they came out with last time that was horrible, or that horrible WWE All Stars, which I hope they scrapped. But just something that is taken seriously, and I really want to see it go back to the Attitude Era. But yeah, so that's how I feel about those are my thoughts on wrestling games. Leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe.